Hello, welcome to my first in a series of videos on the Millennium Falcon. Well, actually it's not the Millennium Falcon. I'm going to be talking about how I'm going to build a YT1300 Corellian freighter. Now I've already built the 1/44 scale version. This is the Bandif, the absolutely fantastic kit, probably the best kit I've ever built. And yeah, I'd go out tomorrow and buy another one. Just absolutely fantastic. In terms of detail, in terms of fit, in terms of, I mean, look at the detail on that, okay. You know, for 1/144 scale, no filler, and all snap fits together beautifully. Yeah, they just don't get any better than this in my opinion. And until they build a 1/72 scale version or bigger, which they might be, there's not much else in the market in terms of such good detail. Yes, you can get the fine molds 172, now Revell own them. They're quite expensive, you know, looking $400 plus for a new one. But there are some other options out as well, and I'll explain them in a minute. But the point of this is, in this first video, I'm going to talk about the plans I have for my build, because I'm going to build a 1/48 scale. Now, if I take this book aside, you can see that this is a blueprint of an almost, well, it's actually bigger than 1/48 scale. So it's going to be a big Bessie. What is it? Well, it's a toy. Here's a picture of it with my kids. Yes, it's quite big. It's a big beastie. 1/48 scale. You're looking at over 2 feet wide. Yeah, but it's not a kit. It's a toy. Now I've got some parts of it here just to show taking it apart. Okay. Right. It's a toy, right? It's made out of this ABS plastic, okay? You know, it's designed for kids to knock around, to throw around, to make, you know, Millennium Falcon-y noises and so forth. It doesn't have the best detail in the world, and that's one of the docking bays, okay? And I'll put up some pictures now to show you comparison. I've done a comparison shot of the 1/44 scale and this scale. It is 1/48 scale, and you'll see that the detail is probably 2 levels down from the other one. What makes it such a good toy slash kit slash base is it's relatively cheap. When they first came out, they were out for about $100 or so, and then they were just clearing them out at Christmas sales. You can get them for less than half that, and that's what I got for mine. So, you know, it's a real cheap thing that you can go, well, okay, I'm just going to go to town on this thing. But you get what you pay for. I mean, these are the only external detail parts that you get. All the other sidewall parts, as I've shown you in the pictures, there's just nothing there. This is blank. Okay, they want you to put stickers on. The cockpit is just this blob with the windows filled in. I mean, you know, it's a sizable cockpit. That's, you know, it's all going to be on display in 1/48 scale. You'll see everything. So if you want to super detail that, the only way to go is, and this is actually a good benefit because so many people, I'm not doing anything new under the sun here, you know, so many people are getting these kits and they're super accurizing them. I'll put some pictures up of some fantastic examples that people have done, the best of which is Randy Cooper, who does, you know, unbelievable Star Wars and other sci-fi models, and he fully detailed his. It's got a full LED kit in it, he's got ramps on it, it's got sound effects, the whole lot. It's just, you know, amazing. And you can buy lots of parts off the shelf as well. We're not talking about, you know, getting things custom made, although you can get things these days 3D printed. But no, you can get off the shelf, you can get 3D printed parts, you can get all the greebles down all the sides, you can get photo etch grills for the vents here, you can get all these bays, you know, you can cut them out and get snap-in versions to do that. And for the underside, whoop, that's not a good shot. And the underside, I mean, it's all available, it's all off the shelf. It's still going to cost you a bit of money, but at the end of the day, it's, you know, for the size of it and the sort of kit that you're going to have at the end, you know, it's fantastic. There is another version available, and that's what we're looking at here in this blue mat, and that's the Deagostini one. That's the BMW Mercedes version. We're not talking, you know, $400 like the 172 from fine mold to Revell. We're talking, from an Australian point of view, $2,000. Okay, it's one of those deals you buy a magazine each week. I've got a few what I've done is some chap was selling the first 10 or 11, I believe, and I picked them up for, for less than $4 each when they usually retail for $20 each. So I've been able to accumulate some parts, and I'll just show you here. Get rid of these ones. Okay, so some of the parts include the first thing, of course, is the cockpit. Okay, so it's open, which is better, obviously, and there's the the side mount, and the detail, of course, is a lot better because this is 1/43rd scale. It's a strange scale. It's based off the studio prop, the 5 footy? No, the Empire Strikes Back version, I believe. Okay, studio scale version. So it's big, and because I got those first 11 issues, it comes with the full cockpit and the LED mount. So that just slots in there, and you've got yourself a fully detailed cockpit. I mean, I'll add some more to that, of course. That's just a base that the chap put together. He's just give it a rough paint job and off we go. So yeah, so why did I get that when the scales are obviously out a little bit? I mean, at 1/43rd scale, let's have a comparison. Here's the Hasbro. Okay, so that's the Hasbro toy, 1/48 scale, and there's the it's really big, and I'll show you in a minute. I'll just bring out the part. All right, so this is the side of the toy. Okay, let's just move Mr. Bandai out of the way, out of the limelight. Okay, so that's the toy side, and this simply just clips in like that, upside down this chain. Okay, clips in like that, and that's your cockpit. It's actually too short. It's dimensionally wise, accuracy wise, it's actually off. You try to bolt that on, it just looks, it just does not look right in scale, does it? It's just too wide. So there's a method to my madness. Why did I get that? Well, I'll explain that in a minute. So this leads me to references. Now, believe it or not, there's Rivet Counters. Oh yes, there's Rivet Counters in the Star Wars universe. And they've all pointed out and they've all shown and detailed quite a lot, actually. If you want to build a very accurate Empire Strikes Back, because there is two versions of the Falcon in between the first two films, using the Hasbro toy, you actually have to go through quite a lot of changes and modifications. The cockpit for one, and I believe some of the parts on these mandibles, that's what we call the things at the front. Okay, and just some general parts here and there, because they've softened the detail to make it a toy. But you have to go to town, and if you want to be accurate and count those rivets or count those blasters or whatever you want to call them, yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. So one of the best reference manuals off the shelf is this one from Haynes, the Owner's Workshop Manual. Wouldn't it be great to own one of these? And what I want to talk about is the fact that, well, how to put it? The Millennium Falcon is a truck. Okay, it's a glorified big rig truck. It's a B-double of the skies. Okay, and we love it. It's the most famous vehicle in the Star Wars universe for almost everybody. But let's, no qualms about it. It's a truck, and it evolved over time. If you go through how it came to be, that's the base model. That's the base model YT1300 before Mr. Solo got to it and made all his modifications. Okay, and it's for carrying crew and passengers and not much else. And there are a couple of variants. And as we go through here, and as you go through the history of it, what struck me out of all this was there were so many variations. Okay, we're used to this one. We're used to these sort of versions with the wide beam engine and the cockpit to the side. I think there's an infamous story, it might be true or not, that George Lucas wanted a different sort of model to the one that the original Millennium Falcon they built for the movie is actually the first Corvette you see in the big long cigar shaped thing. He wanted something different because it looked like the spaceship from another Star Wars, another sci-fi movie that just came out. So he wanted something different, so they said a hamburger with an olive on the side. I mean, I don't know if that's a true story or not. We'll leave it to the historians to work that out. Looks great. Alright. I'm not interested in doing a Millennium Falcon because I've done one. And if I want to do another one, I'll probably do one on 1/72nd scale, to be honest, to go with all the other Star Wars stuff that seems to proliferate in that scale. No, what I want to do is something really different, and the one I want to do is this one. Okay. Now the difference between these two, I'll see if I can find a picture more. There it is. How convenient is that? Right, let's zoom in and I'll explain my madness. There we go. Okay, first obvious choice thing, there's two major things going on here. It doesn't have a side cockpit, it's got a front cockpit. Okay, it doesn't have a beam engine, it's got traditional, you know, inline rocket engines, sublight engines I think they're called. So the configuration on its side, that's what it looks like. So it looks somewhat different, and there's quite a few. I'll just find them for you. There's quite a few other variants that are going off. Oops, no, there isn't. No, we'll just stick with that. Okay, I'll put some pictures up. That's what I'll do. I'll put some pictures up. Okay, put them up of artwork I've seen that have inspired me to think, oh yeah, I want to do something different, and that's what I'm going to do. So beyond that, what I've done is I've come up with an idea. What happened? Well, you know, let's have a backstory to the model. Basically, the two YT1300 freighters have collided, and you know, there's spare parts from each to build one new one. And I've actually written a little story behind that just to motivate me, to get me going about that. So that's my story. And one of them was a center cockpit, and one of them had reusable engines. And he, you know, this one chap, he decided to put them together and kit bash, you know, basically kit bash them together. So that's what I'm going to be doing with my Hasbro / Deagostini kit bashed YT1300 special, if we want to call it that. So I need to do two major modifications. So let me put the book away and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Now, I can't show you the whole thing in frame, so this is just the first, this is just the front half. Okay, there's my hand for for reference. It's big, okay, 3 handfuls wide. Now this is the front half top. There's the mandibles, the front. Okay, there's the, oops, it's not in picture. There's the front ramp that had the, I think they had torpedo launchers or something in here in the original Falcon. This needs to be chopped off, where I've done that line there. Okay, can we do that? Right, can you see that backing plate there, the sort of serrated edge? Okay, that's what the new cockpit's going to sit against. So I need to cut all this off. So I'll be cutting this flush and putting in new armour plate. I might be able to use this section here, I'm not sure. Here, I'm not sure, I might be able to do it. But that's the first major modification to be done, and of course on the bottom plate I've got to cut that off as well. And I've trial fitted it with the Deagostini parts. So basically it's going to sit like that, okay, actually a bit further out like that, and raised, yeah, for the center cockpit location. So that's the first major one. And then the other one is with the engines, and this is the back half. Okay, so this is the back half. There's a central turret that's clear. Sorry, it's not clear, it's just solid. So I've got an idea to make a remote controlled turret there and get rid of this completely. There's the side docking bays, okay, left and right, and there's the ports. I actually can cover these up if I want, according to the specs of the other one. I don't know what that's a. Would you believe that's a Jag Panther, which I'll get to in a minute. That's a Jag Panther hull. Lots of tank parts in this, which is interesting. Okay, so that's the engine parts. That's the beam engine at the back. All right, swing it around. So that's the beam engine. Pretty good detail. Look at that. There you go. There's some Panther rear engine decks, and some, I believe, Merlin engine blocks in there as well, and some wheels from something or other. I've got a full list somewhere of all the kit bashes, because the original model, studio scale model, was literally kit bashed. They just went to the local hobby store and they took everything off the shelf and chucked it together. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is cut this open and this open all the way around here where the black lines are. I've already pre-planned, and rip that all out and throw it out. Yes, it's going to be interesting. So, shush. So here's the bottom. Okay, so with the bottom, I don't have to do as much surgery. I'm just going to cut out that corresponding with that wedge, and we'll cut out here as well, and just take out all the rear flappy thingies, and I can keep this solid base here for the engines. And oh yeah, that's one thing about the Hasbro. That's the landing legs, so that's, you know, ridiculous. So you just cut them off and and blank them, which leads me to the next point. Is here's the bottom cannon, which they've just moulded in place, and here is the it's actually missing a barrel. It's around somewhere, I've got it, but that's the quad cannon you get in nice beautiful metal from the Deagostini one. So yeah, I'm not actually going to put this on the bottom because that's where I'm going to put my flights down. I'm just going to take this completely out, and I'll have a big acrylic rod going through there, because this is going to be done in flight, of course. Why would you do a Falcon on the ground? I don't know. Anyway, I won't go into that. So after cutting out the big wedge where the wide beam engine is, I've got to scratch build some new rockets, 3 new rockets. So how am I going to do that? Well, not only do I have to do that, I have to replace all the greebles along the side, all the sidewalls, and make all these other parts. So what I've done over time is I've collected quite a few bits and pieces and bobs from other kits. 172 scale, 176 airfix stuff. That's a 172 Tiger tank. Up the turret we've got King Tigers, because you'll see that these rear grills, they come up all the time as major parts. So I've collected all this stuff for greebles, and I've got quite a few some rocket nacelles off a Messerschmitt 262. Okay, so things like this. But the major parts I'm going to use are from a ICBM. Okay, that's an ICBM, and I should be able to make at least 2, maybe if I make 2 matching rockets out of that one, and add lots of greebles and pipe work and so forth on the side. And I've got a few other things I can use for the I've got these MiG-21 engines, I believe. I think this was they were given to me by Dwayne, my local plastic crack merchant. It's because I have done something like this before. This is not out of the realms. Now what this is, I'll turn it over upside down. This is a F15 Mosquito kit bash. Okay, this is the Revell Mosquito, which I just could not get to work. So I just turned him into a Star Warsy sort of kit bash thing, and part of that is I made jet engines, made rockets out of various parts, fuel tanks mainly, and nozzles and landing gear and so forth. So that's something I've had a bit of experience doing, a bit of fun, and I'm a lot better than that with alclads now, so I get a bit more feel on that with the nozzles and so forth. And of course the next stage, because I did it with the Bandai, is I'm going to put some LEDs in. So that is going to be interesting. We'll put some LEDs in the rockets, we'll put it in the cockpit. Now the major problem with this toy, I've got all these grand ideas of melding the plastics between the Deagostini stuff and Hasbro and kit bashing from other styrene kits, is it's not made out of styrene, it's some sort of ABS sort of plastic, so it needs to have a different primer on it, and I'm going to use this stuff. Once I've finished all the cutting and carving out of all the things I don't need and then I want to add on, I'll give it a coat of this. This is what other builders have used to get things to stick to the plastic, and then just using super glues instead of normal like a Tamiya Extra Thin or other sort of styrene glues. We'll use super glue to attach everything. So hopefully that's all I'll need in terms of special materials. Yeah, and as for colours and weathering, well, I don't know, let's bring out the Bandai one and clear the other things away. I really haven't thought about what colour to make it. Obviously it's not going to be the Falcon, so I don't want it to look like this. But yeah, the colour palette for Star Wars is usually grey, grey and white. But I'm thinking, we'll put some colours to denote the fact that it was 2 ships bashed together. We might make it a dual sort of colour scheme. What are your thoughts on that? I've got some, I'd like to have some red in there, and maybe or a black and gold sort of scheme. That was the other one I was going for. And weathering is not quite this streakiness, but maybe we'll go for that. But we'll go for a well-used one, because I do intend to add quite a few greebles and details, so really like those things to pop. Alright, we'll call that a day, and that's part 1 of, I don't know how many parts it's going to be, I don't know how long this is going to take. I hope you're going to enjoy this as much as I am, because it's going to be great fun. I'll try to cut the videos up into smaller bits so they're a bit easier to digest, but the next one I think will be on how I cut the thing up and how the mock-up stage will look. So until that time, see you later.